Hello everybody! It's that time of week again for our Facebook Live session talking about LinkedIn. And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn and thought leadership. So if you are joining us, then say hello, ask questions, love to get really specific for you and give you the advice that you need. And also if you're watching this later, on the website, on the blog, you can actually submit questions and I'd love to be able to feature them in another session. So I hope some of you will be joining me soon. Excellent. So I'll just crack on and then obviously we can bring in questions as we go. So thought leadership and LinkedIn, how do they actually go together? Well, they go really well together, and I would go as far as to kind of clarify the thought leadership as people who stand for a cause. They want to stand out in the marketplace and say, I believe in this, this is the way it should be done, and everybody buys into that message, and they create their own tribe around them of people who believe in what they're talking about, the problem they want to solve in the world, and they look to them as industry leaders who really know what they're talking about and they want to follow them. And in turn, they'll actually become that person's trusted advisor. They'll be the person that they refer, they'll be the person whose name comes up in all the right conversations. As they're the expert, they must know what they're doing because they're active, they're talking about it, they're sharing adamantly, this is what needs to be done. So one of the things that is really, really important inside of the thought leadership is to actually kind of scale back a little bit and see yourself as a trusted advisor. A trusted advisor is somebody that you turn to for advice and support, whose advice you really do believe in and that you would actually take. Now that person could be someone who's watching you from afar and they're not actually ever going to buy from you, or they could be someone who's watching and have warmed up to you and actually are your ideal prospect. And this is obviously the one we want to appeal to because as your ideal prospect, they are the ones that make the money, put it simply. So as that, you're looking at being a trusted advisor to somebody. You want them to believe in your advice, you want them to turn to you for support and help. So what we need to do is really establish your credentials, why you solve the problem you do, and the method of which you solve the problem. And you can start a conversation with somebody and take them right to that point where they literally believe in you in five seconds flat. And I had a conversation like this morning. It was just like, wow, yeah, I love what you're saying. I love your energy. I trust you to do it. Let's do it. And that's kind of where you want to get to. And that always shows up when you're adamant about a problem that needs solving in the world and you know that the way you do it is the way to solve it. And therefore, your passion for what you do shows up way more than any self-doubts or worries you have or any thoughts about yourself and what you do. And do you do it well enough? All of those things are kind of eradicated and gone because you're like, no, it has to be done this way. This is the method. This is the way we do it. And people obviously trust that and they go, well, she's passionate about it. I guess that's how you do it. So really that's where you're going for. You're really wanting to position yourself as a trusted advisor to your prospect. So when they're ready to buy, they come to you. And to do this, we need to interrupt their buying cycle and bring them to awareness that they have a problem in the first place. So how does this go together with thought leadership? Well, they're the same kind of thing, really. It's just that and I had this idea yesterday that actually inside of thought leadership, there can be sometimes maybe an element of ego in terms of, I want to be the one who's known for this. I want to exemplify what I do. I want to speak on the stage. I want to write a book, which has an element of self in it. But when you're really passionate about solving a problem, that kind of disappears. And it becomes all about the problem that you solve in the world. And a trusted advisor is somebody that will get on the phone with you and give you the advice that you need and not actually worry about whether they're getting paid for it. The reason being is that they know that they trust in their services, they know what it's about, and if you want more of what they're offering and you want it on a regular basis, then they're going to ask for it. So they just know that you're a trusted advisor, someone they can turn to. And when they know this, it will be your name that comes up in all the right conversations about what you do and how you do it. So that's really, really, really important. So how do you do this on LinkedIn? Well, firstly, you want to look at your messaging. You want to look at the problem you solve in the world. You want to know why you're passionate about what you do. You want to get it into the experience section, change the experience section around so it doesn't read like a CV, because the only person who's going to be interested or understand it is actually a recruiter. We don't care about that really. What we want is friends and family and people around you to go, oh right, I get that. Oh, that's what they were doing during that time period. So your experience wants to tell a story. It wants to tell about how you evolved, how you became the expert at what you do, and it is written very differently. You're still going to talk about results, you're still going to talk percentages and numbers, and you might talk about the industry and the climate at that time. Like if it was 2008 when everything was going wrong and you turned a company around and got it really successful, that actually has a huge more clout than if you just did it today when the economy is much better. So you do want to put it into context. So the summary is, the experience section is really important to build your credibility and say how you've come to know what you know. Why are you credible? What do you do? And then in the experience section, you really want to put out there your stance. I'm on a mission to change this. This is the problem in the world and this is what needs to happen. I believe that, in my opinion, in my personal experience. And sentences like that are really, really powerful because it invites somebody in to know something personal about you. You've spoken directly to them and they're getting to know you. So they are some really key points that's worth thinking about, worth looking at in terms of whether you are going to be a trusted advisor and a thought leader to your prospects, which is much more distinguishing than just being, say, I do graphic design, end of story. It's like, well, how do I refer you? Who do I refer you to? Who can I trust with you? Like, I had a phone call this morning. It came through a Google search, but it wasn't actually a lead for me at all. And I said to them, well, what is it that you need? What are you looking for? And I said, well, let me see who I know that I could pass this work to. And really I was looking for someone that I trusted. I could just send them to a graphic designer, but they actually needed more than a graphic designer. I could tell from the conversation they actually needed someone to think about their branding and think about their wording and their approach. So I thought very carefully about who do I know. I posted it in some groups and said who would be the best person for this. And I was really looking for a person whose credentials and work I'd seen before, somebody that I believed in terms of what they were offering and how, and that I knew would be well taken care of by that person. And I would only know that if I've if I've read their LinkedIn profile would be great, or if I come into contact with them elsewhere and built a relationship up with them and can actually trust, yes, they are good people, they definitely can do this work. Now, when I just said, I spent time with them and met them, a LinkedIn profile done correctly doesn't require that person to ever have met you. If the person reads the profile and totally buys into what you do and how you do it, perfect. You've really made an impact there because that person will go, I know someone who solves that problem and I know they solve it really well. Go to this person. They've never met you, they've never talked to you. But just by the sheer way you've spoken about what you do and the passion and the problem, how you position the problem that you solve and the passion you have in terms of like the determination, they're absolutely adamant that it has to be solved the way you say, that is actually what's going to make that bond with you and create that loyalty with that prospect. So LinkedIn is a very important place to establish yourself as a thought leader and a trusted advisor, and then you're also looking at supplying content and warming up your prospects as well. So hopefully that has been really, really interesting content. Thank you to Helen and Sean and Jenny and all the other people who have popped along to watch this. We're here every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We are The Profile Company, www.TheProfile.Company. You can see it behind me, just in backwards. And this is my book, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile. You can get it on the website, and if you have any questions about your LinkedIn profile or your strategy, or want some feedback on how you're positioning yourself as a trusted advisor in your network, your network, then be in touch. I'd love to have that conversation with you. I'd love to just take the time to give you some feedback on what you're doing and how. Always open to that conversation, no hard push. I'm not, although I will probably tell you what to improve on your profile, I will give you enough to just be able to get on with it yourself if you want to. So you don't have to feel like you have to say no if you don't want to. I just love to help, give insights and engage with you. So You can find the number on the website. I'm not going to say it on Facebook Live. I don't think it's a very good idea. Yeah, I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks, bye. Thanks everyone for coming.